All right. So we know all about box and whisker plots. Might help for you guys to get out your journal interpreting when we did data, uh, graphic data, analyzing graphic data, something like that. It's the blue one, I think. Not the blue circle. Where's your journal? Oh, analyzing data. Look at the yellow one. Look at that yellow one. Or your green one, visual representations of data, yellow or green. You want to get those out so you can take a look at them. Because there are things about box plots that I feel like you guys forgot when we did our homework. There are some things about box plots that I believe you forgot when we did our homework, okay? So the green one or the yellow one, either of those will give you enough information. Seamus, you got your journals? Get them out. We want to look at that green and the yellow one, okay? So talk to me about this box plot. What does a box plot represent? How is it divided? Things like that. What's important? Uriah, tell me one thing you know about a box plot. Just one important feature of it.
It's like for something.
A what? It has quartiles? Yeah, good job. Okay, so the data is divided into quartiles, which means just 4 groups. Perfect, Uriah, you're off the hook. What else? What do you think, Ashton? The whiskers show the max and the minimum. Oh my goodness. So I'm going to write minimum here and maximum here. Good job, Ashton. Tiana, what do you know? Oh, it's frozen. Is that what someone said? It is. Tiana, what do you know? One thing. If you have an outlier, okay. Do you think we might have an outlier? So we think that, are you thinking that this might be an outlier? Do you know how to calculate an outlier? Do you remember? This is an outlier on the low side, so you want the low side. So what quartile are we looking at? Q1 minus 1.5 times your IQR. Violet, what's one thing you know? The line dividing Q1 and Q3 is the median. And the median is also Q2, but we just don't call it that, right? Okay, good. One more thing. Amalia's not here. Aiden, tell me one more thing about the box or about the box plot. From Q1 to Q3, this whole thing represents 50%. Perfect. The box is 50%. I love that. Okay, one more thing. Lorenzo, tell me one more thing. What could you say about this right here? How much data lives there? Percentage-wise. Help them out, Seamus.
25%.
Good job, 25%. Caden, how much data lives here? How much data lives here? If we're dividing the data into quartiles, and this is 25%, and the box is 50, how much do we have left? What's 100 minus 25 minus 50? You have a calculator, pick it up. 100 minus 50 minus 25. Yeah, this is 25%. Guys and gals, the quartiles are 25% each. So like this is 25% and this is 25%. Okay. Let's answer some questions. So the box plot that's represented right here shows test scores as percentages for ninth period. So these are math scores. What was the highest score on the test or the high score on the test? Matthew, high score on the test. Try again. It's 102. 102, and it says they're as percentages, so I'm going to write 102%. Do you see that? It's probably an outlier, or it's like it's the max. Do you see it's the maximum score? What percent of the class, Bailey, what percent of the class scored above 72? What percent of the class scored above 72? So 72 is right here. How much data is represented here? 75%. Good job. So 75% of the class scored above a 72. What was the median score on the test, Ashton? What was the median score? 88%. Good job. Not here. Johnson's not here. Delilah, what percent of the class scored between 88 and 96%? 25%. Good job. Last question. I'm going to give this to Kimber. Do you think that the test was too hard for students? Explain. Kimber, look at me. That is the most amazing answer. That's perfect, spot on. Okay, good job. No, it's not too hard. Kimber said no, because 75% of the class scored above a 72, which is passing. So it's definitely not too hard. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Uriah. Let's talk about number 4. It's asking you from 88 to 96. So I'm going to erase this and let's look at 88 to 96. So that's just this part right here. Do you see that, Uriah? Just this part. In the box, the whole box represents 50%. The whole box represents 50%, but the pieces inside the box are just 25s. So do you see that 88 to 96 is just that right end of the box? Good question. Thank you. Are we good with that? Okay, thank you. So questions 7 through 10. Refer to the box in the Whisker graph below that shows how much time was spent per night on homework for a sophomore class at a certain high school during September. So average minutes per night spent on homework. So let's just identify some key features. Braden, tell me one important thing that you see on that box plot. Say that again. Okay, so the minimum is 0, and what's your maximum? Okay, thank you. Caden's not here. Caden, something else. The median is 48. Good job. Median is 48. Jaden's not here. Travis, tell me something about that box and whisker plot. Brian, help him out. What's one thing you can tell me? 50% is inside the box. So inside the box is 50%. I see some of you guys raising your hands. Ashton, what do you want to share? Q1 is 20. Good job, Ashton. Anybody else? Gianna.
The side, like the two sides are 25%.
The whiskers? Yeah. Is that what you're talking about? The whiskers? Yep. Keep going. And Q3 is 60. Awesome. Do you guys feel like you have enough information that we can do some questions? Okay. What percent of the sophomores, Justice, this one's yours. What percent of the sophomores spend more than 60 minutes on homework per night? You what? 90%? Where is 60? I'm asking for a percentage. So if 60 is right here, what percentage of the students spend more than 60 minutes? What percent? What does your whisker represent? I've got it boxed in for you. What does your whisker represent? 25%. 25% of the sophomores spend more than 60 minutes. Okay. Zan, this one's you. What is the range of the time that the middle 50% of the sophomores spend on their homework? So we're looking at the middle 50%. Do you see where that is? The range. Look at the middle 50% and I want the range, Zan. I want the range. So we're in that middle 50%, which is your box, right? I want the largest minus the smallest. Good job. 60 minus 20 is 40. So the range is 40. How many 40, and we're talking about time, so that's going to be in minutes, 40 minutes. How many sophomores don't do any homework? How many sophomores don't do any homework? Gianna? So look at this really quick. I'm glad you said that though. I'm going to erase all of this so we can kind of talk about it. This is 25%. So in that 25%, the range is between 0 and 20 minutes. 0 and 20 minutes represent that 25%. I want to know how many of them don't do any, spend 0 time on it. Well, at least one. If it's on the data set, like if it's on the table, has to be at least one. We don't know specifically, right? We don't know specifically, but we can say at least one person. So that's what we're going to say. At least one. Just like if I were to ask you how many people spend 190 minutes on their homework, it's not 25%. It's not the top 25%, at least one. Otherwise, it wouldn't be on the table. I wouldn't do that because we just don't know. We don't know. There could be 4 zeros stacked together. We just don't know. What percent of the sophomores spend less than 20 minutes per night on homework? What percent of the sophomores, Carla, spend less than 20 minutes per night on their homework? So do you see where the 20% is? So that represents a whole whisker, right? What is that first whisker representing in terms of data? How much percent? 25%. Good job. So 25% of the sophomores spend less than 20 minutes on their homework. That might be true to be said about 20% of the math ones, or 25% of our math one students too. What do you think? Maybe yes, maybe no?